All right, everyone. Welcome to the jewelry call. Carrie may be joining us here soon, but in the meantime, I'm going to talk about heart jewelry just for a little bit. And let me share my screen. Okay, so as we all know, Valentine's Day is coming up and it's almost the new year, and we need to list these things or have them already listed. If you don't, get them listed soon because this is the good time to start selling them. I've already sold a couple heart pieces this week, so I think people are starting to think of the next holiday already. We have fine jewelry, of course, sells great for Valentine's Day. You know, your diamonds, your rubies, um, gold and silver, them are always good, but most of us are more fashion, vintage, costume jewelers. So for Victorian era pieces are fabulous. Well, they're good pieces to sell, but this time of year, especially,
You're
am
cutting out a
I
lot, Lynn.
my inner
Oh,
I'm breaking up a lot. That's what my internet just told me. I don't know what to do about that.
now it sounds fine.
I always have internet issues. I don't know how else. This is the best internet we have. Um, okay, so let's go on to sweetheart bracelets are absolute great pieces to sell. They usually run anywhere from $56 to $72 on average for me, but some do sell for over 100. And I don't really see the difference. I think some of them, the ones that sell over $100 are always named. Some of these don't have names. So I think the Co-Star is one particular name that sells. You know what? I'm not on presentation mode, am I? You're looking at my whole screen. All right, better. Next, puffy hearts are always a good seller. Bracelets, necklaces, even pendant this week with a puppy heart. Lockets, um, lockets. These can go for good money. When I say good money, I'm saying from anywhere from $30 to $100. That's pretty average, but you can find some that are absolutely more than that. But on average, these older etched heart lockets, not the newer ones so much, but these older ones go well. And they're also a lot of times marked on the insides, like by the hinge or up on top with a name, or if they're 14 karat gold or 1/20th of 14 karat gold. You'll see that a lot on these, and obviously they sell for more. Heart pendants is probably the most common thing. We all know we need to keep an eye out for them. Any sort, basically. They all do well. They're not fast sellers, but around this time of the year, you might want to make sure if you have any in your stash that you might want to get it posted. Heart perfume bottle pendants. These are absolute great sellers. Any and all kinds. Um, the etched ones, the fancier ones with the 3D relief, like this one on the right, they're going to sell a little bit better and for a little bit more money. So it's something to keep an eye out for. And obviously heart charms, but usually the ones that are named are obviously going to be the better ones. Like this one on the left, Walter Lampel, is an at is a great name to keep an eye out for. And this Guilloche you want to keep an eye out for. And Pandora, sometimes you have to be careful with the bigger names so that you don't want to get a Vero. Givenchy is another one. Glassworks, Carol Lee. We got a bunch of different names here you can keep an eye out for. Millie Fiore hearts are another good item. They're all glass, little pieced together, and people look for them. Different names, Givenchy, Glassworks. I love these heart charm Glassworks necklaces. They're great. And then Carol Lee is it's not a huge brand to look for, but this particular bracelet, I've seen it sold multiple times for, oh, what was it? It was for good money. I want to say 75 to $100, which I was a little bit surprised about for Lee. But anyway, bracelet you want to come out for. Folly is obviously another good one. And anything with hearts in Kirk's Folly is good. And Joan Rivers is the last one I have. She's got these little egg charms and heart charms that these necklaces always sell well. So that's all I have. I think that is it. Oh, this Betsy Johnson bracelet. I just had to share this with you. Of course, Carrie was just talking about it. You have to be careful with Betsy Johnson that they're not fakes. But this particular bracelet with these little sweetheart charms sell fabulous.
That's so
It is a
cute.
newer one for her, so again, you might have to be very careful that it's not a fake. And
Is it true that the white
that is
tag
it.
is the not fake tag? I saw that online, but it
I
was
don't,
just like one person's like blog post that other people have reposted. So I was like, oh, I shouldn't just go off this one person's post, but
There's no
that
like
the white
color
tag is a
tag.
fake. The one with the black lines and designs on it, I'm pretty sure that's the right one.
oh, okay.
So
Okay.
like the red ones are okay too, but they are more mass produced ones, so they're just lower quality.
Okay. Yeah, the one person's post was like that little if that paper tag, if it's like pink with the black like leopard print on it, that those are fake, but I don't
They
know.
aren't fake, but they are mass produced from China. So they are like $10 versus, a
Gotcha.
real one might be 120. So it's not really a fake, it's just mass produced China stuff. It's like
But I
Timu
thought the
Betsy
ones
Johnson.
that were pink with no black marks were the fakes.
That
I'm
might
not
be.
sure.
There was a rash of them, but like it's like with any other fakes, they're not going to tag them like, hey, I'm a fake. Like they're going to tag them to look correct. But they feel different. The ones you're talking about, Meg, they feel different. And I don't know that they're necessarily fakes. I think they're just mass produced. I think they tried to go for a lower end market there for a while and it wasn't good.
Okay.
But they're hard to
Well, I'm glad
find.
to
I mean,
see you're
it's just
back.
hard. Oh yes. Never ending. They can't call long
Okay.
distance. No, not really, but not any different than it usually is. I do have Mimi's store pulled up here. So Mimi is I see you've been selling for a while. You're not like a brand new seller, but you're just transitioning into more jewelry. Um, and she has great feedback and she has a good store set up. But I told her I would do it because she asked and she's new to the group and I, knew as far as I'm seeing her more. I wanted to use her store as what I would do like a store review. And this would be similar to like if somebody like paid for coaching, some way we would start if they wanted to do it a store review. So I thought it would be a good example. And I appreciate that she's being brave enough to do that. So she said to be nice. I'm like, I'm always nice and helpful, but I'm just gonna be straightforward and you take it for what you will. And if you want to tell me to go fly a kite and you just stay with the way you do it, that's okay too. Because when I give you advice, it's how I would do it. That doesn't mean that it's right for everybody. So it's not there's no right way, wrong way. It's a sometimes you can hear a different way and you can either take pieces of it or one thing and change it, or you could change nothing. So I will share her store with you. The great news is her pictures are pretty good. So, sometimes, Lynn already knows what I'm going to say about the pictures, just saying. So, right off when I scroll through your store, there's nothing, it looks pretty good. Nothing terrible. I would not have anything in the background. That's a me thing. I'm picky about it. I don't like, I feel like this is a great set. Like, I think the set looks really nice, but that takes away from the jewelry. Um, it looks, it looks nice the way it is. I would just not have anything extra, like that plant. It makes me look at the plant, not the necklace, and the necklace looks really nice the way you have it. So I think that that's, I think
I
that you,
definitely agree with that.
so like the
I,
good news is the jewelry looks nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
zooming
super
in as
easy
close
fix.
as
You
you
just gotta zoom
can.
in. Oh, sorry, Lynn.
Oh, I was just gonna say zooming in as close as you can to it.
I was trying to go to the category here. So it just really, it just deflects away from the jewelry, and we want people to pay attention to the jewelry. But the pictures itself of the jewelry look really nice. So that's good. Yep, I agree, Nadine. Other than that, your pictures, I just filtered to just jewelry. So I'll just do a quick scan here. I tell you what, lucite, clear lucite is hard to photograph. I would put this on a dark background because it's really hard to see the item, but it's hard to photograph. It's not, any of us are gonna, that looks better than that one. Clear
Yeah,
lucite.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I thought this looked better.
I would make that your first photo,
I would too.
but crop it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because of that background stuff. I just wouldn't, it's distracting. If you have a nice item, you want people to see the item. I'll just continue to scroll here. So this is her jewelry items she has, and then I'll go back and look. I'm just, right now I'm just looking at pictures. So I'm not looking at her titles or anything, which I have looked at. I try to stay away from the black busts that collect lint, but some people use them and they're fine. I just want to, like, I don't know. I can't ever get mine not to have those specks in it. And I think lots of people have the specs, so you're probably fine, but it's
They make
hard.
linen ones. It was the best thing I ever bought. So it's black linen and it just takes one swoop of the lint roller and it's fine. So
The leatherettes
And
work really
yeah, the
good.
leatherette one works too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, leather or linen all the way.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't attract the lint, which is annoying because you can, I swear you can have it look perfect and it'll have them dang spots on it. I think in the most, do you see, like, in this snapshot of your pictures, are you using the background remover on these? Some?
Yes.
So I can tell. I
Okay.
can't tell you why I can tell, but I can tell.
Okay.
So if you could just have like do you see how clear this is compared to the dark backgrounds? And some people do amazing things with dark backgrounds, and I think this looks nice. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason, a nice clean white background or light gray background
Better.
just does wonders for jewelry. I
Okay.
think it's a reflection thing, but and like this, the colors are pretty muted, and I bet that's really pretty. I
Yeah.
bet this is a really pretty piece, but I can't tell that that's a pretty piece
Okay.
because I bet you took it on the black background and then did a background remover. So you don't get the nice reflection of that white. See
So I
how we
have
can't really even
um,
see what it is?
what's it called? That photo room app.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my struggles with the jewelry is I just trying to find like the right location in the house. Like sometimes there's like better sunlight or
Mm-hmm.
like so I've been trying to play with different backgrounds and different apps to see, what would make it look better. So this I took like I didn't take it on a black background. I just took it, in like my picture thing, what's it called? The light.
Go box?
Yes. And then I used the photo room to change the background, some black, some white. So, but I have taken some pictures. I think Lynn had mentioned in a call a few weeks ago that she used, and she showed me like she uses like a gray background. So there are some that I use gray, and I think like those earrings, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Thing
That
was
looks really
so I
good.
think Yeah,
It
the
does look nice.
Them are the
Yep,
best ones, yeah.
and then
yep, those
the
look nice.
one with the porcelain, like the flapper brooch.
Mm-hmm.
I went
Yeah, it
to
looks nice.
Hobby Lobby and got like a piece of like faux leather material. And that, so I've been trying to play around to see what works best.
Yeah, and it does. It's, you know, I think we all struggle with that at some point. But you know how you asked me how you can get faster to be able to meet your listing goals?
Right.
Not messing with photo room is going to be huge. We should not, in my opinion, I don't use any of that photo room. The eBay, when we sometimes I still have to like highlight, like bring up the lighting a little bit, even with
Okay.
my photo box, and I feel like I do pretty good, but I still have to edit sometimes. I think we all have that happen. But the eBay editor is really pretty good. It's gotten better over the years. It's better. And so if you have to like bring up the lighting a little bit or do some cropping, do it, in my opinion, do it in eBay, because the eBay photo editor is pretty good. And don't mess with, I personally would not mess with time and photo room. I just wouldn't.
Okay.
If you have a good light box, like these gray black work really, like they look really nice. And I think light gray and white, you really can't go that wrong with it.
Okay.
And then get to the point where you're not messing with photo room, and maybe only once in a while having to edit it with the eBay editor, and that'll save you time and it'll make your pictures look better.
Okay.
So but they don't look bad. So, I mean, I do a lot of different kinds of coaching with jewelry, and they aren't bad. So that's good. What are you using for your pricing strategy? Like, how do you decide what to price things at?
Um, I'll either look at comps, or I just kind of, I don't know, like I think you guys call it like the bucket method. One of the things that I'm gonna go in and change was like I had increased the prices so that I could run a sale. Cause like with the earrings, like if I can get anywhere between like $15 to $20, I'm good with that. And a lot of the brooches are there too, but I think I'm just gonna um lower my prices and just run like a 10 or 15% off sale.
We call that doing fake sales, and they don't usually work.
Yeah.
Because the price is the price is the price. I know some people that don't ever run sales, and they sell a lot more than I do because they are really honed into the market and their prices are spot on. And like, I think we have all had fallen victim to the, I know I have. I had a really, and I talked about that on a couple calls. I had a period of time where it was like, well, I don't list anything under 1650 because I need that $15 to $20 mark. Kind of like what you said about the earrings. But unfortunately, what happened is I was listing, they weren't $15 earrings, so they weren't $15 necklaces. They were $10 necklace. You know what I mean? Like, so trying to fit them in that mold of I'm happy with 15 to 20. We have to make sure we're putting up things that garner that price. So like
Right.
these necklaces, or like these earrings, so to for instance, even
Right.
on 33% off, you're probably not in the market.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're not. They are animal print. Maybe if
Right.
we title it right, maybe. But I'm just saying, like, basic things, we have to price them for what they are, type of thing. You know, they just are what they are, what they are. I see you've got some Napier in there, and you've got some Betsy Johnson, which was great. And we'll talk about that here in a minute, but it's price buckets do work. Just like take those flowers out. Yeah. See, that'll look so much nicer.
Okay.
They just, yeah, they are what they are, and I definitely tried the whole pushing them into categories they're not, and it doesn't work. So learn from my mistakes. But the pictures in general, I would agree are, you know, maybe get a leatherette background if you need to. That'll help. Get a little leatherette, or linen works great too, like Meg said. That'll help. And then just try to use your light box, or your gray background looked really nice too. I thought that looked really nice.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pop back, or I could just start from here, I guess. So title structure, I think if we get you, and we all have different opinions on title structure, so you're gonna get mine, doesn't mean it's right. Just means how I would do it. But like this, I use words like spectacular, once in a blue moon, and I put it on the end. And that's just for my normal repeat customers know that I don't label something spectacular unless it really is, and they'll buy it up. But
Okay.
in your situation, like this should never be like your first word.
Okay.
Your first 3 to 5 words are super important in jewelry. And I don't think anybody's going to argue about that. Like, I think that everybody, we're all on board on the same page with the first 3 to 5 words needs to be, and it's similar to clothing. The structure is similar to clothing. So brand, if it's a good brand, and you can put vintage first. So let me say that first. If you choose to put vintage in there, which is just fine, vintage can be in there first. It's not going to hurt anything. But then brand, if it's a good brand, if it's a cruddy brand, like if you happen to find a really cool Jerry's piece, I don't ever put Jerry's in the front because nobody is buying it because it's a Jerry's brooch. You know what I mean? So if it's a good brand, then put brand first. And then we need to have maybe like rhinestone. We need to describe what it is. So like on this is like a good vintage thermoset bracelet, right? That's what that is. Pretty simple. This is a vintage, and some people would put pink first. I don't, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. But those first 3 to 5 words needs to be where you say it out loud, how somebody would type it in if they were looking for that bracelet. I would type in vintage thermoset bracelet or vintage pink thermoset bracelet. That's what I would do if I was looking for this. They're not necessarily going to type in gorgeous wide 50s. They're going to type in vintage thermoset bracelet. And you have bracelet clear at the end, and bracelet needs to be one of your first 3 words or 5 words. So my title for this particular piece, let me look at it because I can't tell exactly what it is. I thought I had a flower on top. It doesn't. It was just a bracelet. So that's great. My title personally would be vintage thermoset bracelet, pink. I might put MCM. I don't know. Maybe not, but that might be it. But that's just me. And then I think it's great that you put that at the end. I do that at the end. I think it's helpful for people that are scrolling, but that's all I would put. So a little bit of
Link.
tweaking to your titles is going to help. Yeah.
Link. I would keep
Yeah.
that in there.
I've never used that word, but if it probably works for people. I think, people probably search that. That's probably true.
So Lynn is saying I should remove link?
No, she's saying that she would add that to my title.
Okay, okay.
And that's not wrong. I mean, so I would just, if you fix some of your titles to be more like brand and what it is right up front, I think that's going to help you a lot because it's got to be like, say it out loud. Meg said her title would be vintage thermoset bracelet, pink gold tone wide. I used to put gold tone and silver tone in my titles. I don't anymore because it catches it in the item specifics. So I just don't, but I don't think it's wrong either. Lots of people do. So let me look at your item specifics here. Be careful about using words like very good because you're very good and my very good are not the same thing. So
Okay.
like maybe I think very good is absolutely perfect. You know what I mean? It just sets you up for people to say, well, I got it and it wasn't very good and now you get an INAD, right? So that's not good. I'm real careful with what words I use because people are picky.
So what would you put in for the condition?
I've never filled that in ever, but if I was going to, I would just use it for flaws.
So even in your description section, you don't put anything for
My descriptions only if there's flaws.
Okay.
I will put big letters like missing a rhinestone and they still don't read the dang thing, just saying.
Okay.
But I'll put missing a rhinestone or has some scuffing or Meg says she copies and pastes what she puts in the description part and puts in a description. Yeah, and some people do that too. I've just never filled it out ever. And I don't think if I did, it would get me more sales. So I just don't. But that's just me.
I
Good
get
pre-owned
lots of
vintage condition.
questions. I get lots of questions from people. Does the gold tone look good? Is it tarnished? Whatever. So instead of them asking me the question, I usually put that in the description, how the gold tone looks. And that's, again, varies per person. You say good. I never say very good either, but if it's in good condition, because it's pre-owned, somebody wore it, it's gonna have scratches, the links might have a little bit of wear on them. So somebody's gonna, like,
Yep.
argue with that. So I just say the gold tone looks good. And they say, well, it looks good, you just have to be careful how you word that. Just don't be too wordy like I'm doing right now.
No, no, she's totally right. And that's fine too. I don't get hardly any questions. I get questions about weird measurement questions once in a while, but I don't really get very many questions. But for anybody that's shopped in there before also knows that if there's a scratch on it, I note any flaws at all. So if it's got scuffing, if it's got scratches, if it's got, I do note that. So if there's anything that sticks out that if I was buying it and I was looking it over, I'd want to know, I do put that in the description. So I'm probably doing about the same thing Lynn's doing, just slightly different. But I mean, pretty much it's the same thing. I put it in so that they don't have to ask questions. So that's basically the same thing. And yeah, on the kid, I steer away from, I give them enough information that they're not asking me questions, but I point out anything bad or wrong or that would bother me if I was buying the item. So it's not wrong, it's just a little different. But as far as price, you're probably not too far off on this one, but the $39.99 was off, in my opinion. But I would just look. You can just do some sold comps, and if you feel good, I think in your $29.99 probably isn't too far off. $26.99 depends on how quickly you want to move it.
Really,
And
they go for that much? I'm gonna start picking up thermostat then.
Yeah,
I was
that'd be
gonna say
nice,
like an offer
remember?
1999 is probably what like would.
Depends on how quick you want it to
I would
move.
have
If you'll
priced
sit,
it.
if you want to sit on it for a year, then you can price it a little higher. But if you want it to move somewhat quickly, makes probably closer. Looks in pretty good shape though, compared to what some of them do.
And it's cool. It's a different design. Like the actual like the board
Mhm.
air ones would definitely be like 1999.
Yeah,
me.
if you want them to move in any time period at all, yes. Some of them that are signed, like some of the signed thermostats will bring more. But if it's not signed and it's not cool, yeah, they're not as sought after. But I would look at your pricing. So like these, and I have not comped one recently. I would definitely not use words like angel skin toned. That is going to bite you because people just see angel skin, like angel skin coral. That's what they're thinking. I guess angel skin's okay, but nobody's really typing in angel skin toned.
Okay.
So if I'm looking for this set, I'm not typing in angel skin tone. I'm typing in like a vintage Avon set. And yeah, it does have a name. I couldn't think of it right off. Things like this should be really easy to comp because there's probably several of these sets that have sold. And you should be able to get in the ballpark on that. And your pictures look good on this. I mean, like they look pretty nice. You've heard my speech about faux pearls. Do I use it? Yep, I sure do. Do I think you should? Yeah, probably not, but do I sometimes? Yeah, I do. Take the and signs out. No characters and titles. So this one I would have vintage Avon set or vintage Avon brooch and earring set. Or I don't even use the word and. I just put brooch earring set and it works fine. And then like the name of the set, or even, and that could arguably be up closer to the front too, the name of the set. Mostly Avon and Sarah Coventry's usually have a set name, and I do try to include that in the title. And then pink in there somewhere, probably, because it's a nice pink color if somebody was just looking for pink. And you could argue a case for faux pearl too, but those pictures look really nice. And I'd have to comp it, but I'm guessing it's probably maybe a little high. Victorian spring set. Yeah, they all have different names. Like here you have one, the Whispering Leaves, you have that name. What's your thought behind doing auctions on, I saw, yeah, see, Meg sold that set for $20.99. So yeah, it's off.
So the auctions, what I did was I went through and I had jewelry that had been listed since June.
Mhm.
and it was just sitting there like no views or whatever. So I think I picked like maybe 30 or 35 items, and I just started an auction for $9.99. I figured if I could get rid of them, or maybe that would maybe bring a little bit more traffic, because I do have a lot of jewelry pieces like that don't have any views. So I don't know. I was thinking maybe that was a good way, um, to move some pieces.
Yep. No, and different people have different theories on that. I've never had any luck moving pieces that way, but I know other people that have. So, I mean, I think that's an individual thing. I've not really had good luck. Auctions are pretty hit or miss. I only do auctions on things that are like super rare, special, like a really cool Trifari set or something. But some people have good luck moving auctions to help move. So just make sure when your auctions end, if you don't have bids and they don't sell, make sure you double check that they get relisted.
Okay.
Because you don't want to just have it lost to the abyss unless you're taking them out of the store. This is a very cool bracelet. I really like this bracelet a lot. I like it better on the white background, but I think it's a cool bracelet. I think it's got a lot of good things going for it. It's got that chunky look, it's wide, it's got the Egyptian revival type look. But people are not typing fabulous super chunky first,
Okay.
right? So I would start with vintage Egyptian revival bracelet. That would, or even bangle bracelet, but bangle is going to get caught in the item specifics. So I think you fix this title, and it's probably overpriced. Like if I was pricing that in my store, if it wasn't signed, unless it was real gemstones, which I think these look acrylic, it's, if I'm really hopeful that day, it might be $29.99 to $34.99, but probably closer to the $29.99. That's just me. That's
I'm
my store.
thinking
That
more.
doesn't.
I mean,
I'm thinking 39.99, because I would put normal bracelets at 25. So 29 seems low to me. Egyptian revival is big, and I would start it at
with this
39.99.
bracelet, I don't want to say that it's glass, but all of the stone looking gems are cold to the touch, and the glass ones too. But I didn't want to say, well, I mean, because I have like that stone identifier app or whatever, so nothing came up for like the purple. But it's just really different. Like I've never seen
It is,
anything.
it's very different. And like
Yeah.
if you're and you could try the $39.99 and just know that you may have to lower it,
Okay.
but I think right here is, I think this will sell for you. I think this is a very sellable item. Like Lynn said, it's popular right now. And it always depends on how fast we want to move things too. That's, so $39.99, I don't think is out of line at all. I don't. I think at this price, it's going to sit there. So, it does,
Okay, it's
yeah.
terrible.
So I don't think, same way with here with your title, the first 3 to 5 words, this isn't going to move that.
Okay.
So just remember brand, if it's good brand, and then we need to get right to the point to what it is, and not a bunch of fillers, because every filler word that we use is going to narrow our search.
Okay.
So we have to think of the 3 to 5 most generalized words that people are going to type when they want to find that item. So, and then you add your filler words on at the end if you want to.
Okay.
So like right here, when I'm scrolling through the stuff, I can't even tell, are they earrings? What are the earrings? It doesn't even show up.
Right.
Right. So I think you just tweak a few little things. I think you're going to see some much better results, because they're not necessarily bad. Like I think this is a very nice necklace. It's got, good color to it. It looks like it's got good construction. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice necklace. Is it a $60 necklace? Is it actually signed Regency? Or was
No,
that just a term?
when I did
Yeah.
a Google search, that's what it came up as. Someone else had it listed. So I just
Yep.
used.
Yeah, be careful with that. People list lots of things that aren't true.
Okay,
all the time. You know, we see it, I mean, Lynn will vouch for that. We see it all the time. People list things that aren't true. Is that a Regency style? Maybe, but there's also a brand called Regency. So we want to just be sure we're not leading people astray that that's signed that, right?
Yeah,
okay,
because in
but-
clothing, Hollywood Regency is like one of those like trendy things that people have been using recently.
Words. So I wouldn't put that, if you want to use those terms, I'd put them at the, there's like in jewelry, that is a brand. So we just want to be careful with that.
okay,
And I don't use the word turquoise unless it's turquoise. So
okay,
that's not turquoise stone. So I would not use turquoise in the title.
okay.
So somebody's gonna get that and say it wasn't turquoise.
So, I'm sorry, it might sound like a dumb question, but what
No,
would you
no.
use as a color? Would you not put a color, just the
It's
pictures?
blue.
Blue, okay. Okay,
But this is a nice necklace. So I mean, the good news is that, you know, you don't have all stuff that I don't think will sell. It's just, we just got to tweak it a little so people can find it.
okay,
Yeah, people do love blue. It'll definitely be seen.
okay.
Um,
And then lower the price.
mhm.
Okay.
What do you think on a price like this, Lynn? It's not signed. It's got an acrylic pendant. It's got nice color. People do love blue.
$39.99,
And I was at $29.99, so it's probably somewhere on one end and somewhere in
$34.99.
between. Yep, yep.
Okay.
Doesn't and it's always with the consideration that, yeah, if it's got to get lowered, you can. So you can start. It'll still be quite a bit different than what you have it now. So it might kind of trigger some views.
And
Okay.
I'm
nothing
loose
wrong
with
with
the
that.
term, but I feel like it almost looks Egyptian revival-ish.
It could be. Yep, I agree.
I'll get views.
Mm-hmm. But that's a nice one. But I think if you fix some of your titles, you're gonna see titles and price.
Okay.
And don't go off of what other people are like. I use Google Lens, don't get me wrong. I use it to get sometimes ideas for keywords. Sometimes it'll help point us in the right direction if we are unsure about something. But I don't ever just like, well, because when you go to get that INAD, because that's not what it is, you can't tell eBay, well, but somebody else had one listed like that. They don't care, right? So use it as a guiding point, and then we kind of got to take our own things here. Like Swarovskis usually sell really good, but and maybe, you know, people aren't always searching the swan. I think I do see people put swan in the titles, but to get it started off with, it's a vintage Swarovski earrings.
Okay.
Because these should probably sell for you. I don't know that you're gonna have too much trouble selling that.
At a lower price, you think, or?
I don't know. They usually sell pretty good. I'd have to comp it to find out, but I don't know that you're too far off, just off the top of my head. Yeah, that's what they are.
Well, what I've noticed, like, you had them at $49.99. So they're probably, you get it at 33% off. So they're probably pushed down in the feed now because you probably had them up for a while at a high price. And now hardly anybody's seeing them at the 33. That's just my opinion. I don't know that
Yeah, it
Carrie would
could be.
agree with that.
Yeah.
So either maybe change that title around, put Swarovski at the, vintage Swarovski. I would take signed out of there in the beginning and Swan and just say vintage Swarovski clip-on earrings. Just change the title up and maybe reboost it. Maybe change the front photo,
Okay.
crop it or something, because that'll help move it back up into the feed. I think it's just being pushed down so far that it's just not getting
It could be.
seen. 'Cause
I think
it
that
seems like,
swan is throwing it.
Okay.
yeah,
It could be throwing it in the animal category. Like more people
true.
searching
Okay.
for birds.
Right.
But I think that's a very sellable item. I looked, my last pair of Swarovski earrings I sold were $50, but they were big colored ones. But I mean, I think your price is not too far off. I just think your title's throwing it. And like this, let's see what the material is it's made out of. very sellable. People buy this stuff all the time.
I would definitely zoom in on that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was just seeing if this was a.
It looks
Mm.
newer.
Mm-hmm. So it's not Art Nouveau, but it's Art Nouveau style, and which is what you have.
Revival.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Revival. Yep. That's a good word, but it's a nice. I think it's a little overpriced for being newer. Yeah, I agree with that, Meg. Anymore when it didn't used to be so much. You used to have to like change a picture or something. I have found if I change the price, it does just as good as if I edited the whole thing. And it should pop your listings back up when you go to edit the title and the price. Yeah, I don't know. It used to not be that way, but it feels that way. Yeah, you misspelled brooch, so that's not helping you. And large doesn't have an E either. So fix this. And I agree with Lynn completely. Victorian revival, not replica.
I'd say it's more Art Nouveau to me.
Yeah, I just
The
mean that
ladies with the flowing hair, I would put Victorian at the end if you're gonna put it in there, because I think I would start with Art Nouveau brooch
and I would use
or Art
revival.
Nouveau revival brooch,
Okay.
Yeah,
if you want to put all that.
Okay.
because it is newer. But it's pretty and it's sellable. Like somebody will buy that. That's a sellable brooch. I don't know that it's sellable at $33, but it is, you're not way out of the ballpark, but it's probably needs to be lowered.
Yeah, like $29.99. If it was or Art Nouveau from that time frame, I would have it at probably $40 to $50. But being that it's newer, it's probably more in the $30 range. 25, 30.
I was gonna say if I was just like slapping a price on it, I'd say $26.99. So we're pretty darn close. We're in the ballpark. So if you go through and make those little adjustments, this is a huge no-no. Don't do that. Don't do a brand and a question mark.
Okay.
And I don't care that other people have it done. Don't do it. Because there's no such brand as a Coro question mark, right? So it's
Right.
kind of it's misleading. So don't do it. If you are sure that it's an unsigned Coro, which we run across things like that all the time, then you can put unsigned Coro. But if you aren't sure, and remember, the people that you copy their listing, they aren't going to stand beside you to eBay when you get hit with a policy violation. So if you're sure because your research tells you that it is, then that's fine. Then put unsigned Coro. I'm very careful with that. I don't do it very often.
Okay.
See, this is, people buy St. John jewelry. I have pretty good luck with St. John jewelry. But signed as the first word is probably gonna throw you off on that.
Okay.
So St. John, and so these are the cases where sometimes I use the word gold tone when I don't have anything better to say, which happens to me sometimes.
Great.
So I might put St. John gold tone earrings or clip-on earrings. I usually put earrings because sometimes I want it to hit a broader audience, but it's not wrong if you put clip-on.
Okay.
And then if you're gonna put sign, put it at the end.
I sold a whole bunch of St. John earrings, kind of similar to that, all in about the same day. And I don't think they were that high. I think they were more in the 30s range. But I'm gonna look it up real quick and let you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I sold one pair of real recently in December for 20, but I'd had it listed since June at 30. So probably somewhere in between.
Yeah, I sold 4 pairs to one person. Of course, hang on. They were more than I thought. $44.99, $42.95, $44.99, $44.99. So they're not too far off, but maybe a little bit high.
And I probably just took an offer because it had been in my store since June and not had any action on it, so. I do better with St. John's sets than I do singles, but I think you just gotta have the right buyer like anything else. People that like it, like it.
Meg, how would you describe those earrings though? Because that's another thing. Sometimes
Yeah,
I
it's
really
vintage St. John earrings, clip-on gold tone. Heavy's good because a lot of people, you don't want it returned because it's too heavy. And that's it.
But
But
I
look,
would
for
take that out too.
rhinestones, if those are rhinestones, I could put that in, or like if they're like newer ones, kind of like I feel like with newer jewelry, you can get like crystal rhinestone, but like I don't know if that's like the best to do. Probably just rhinestone. If it
I
is.
don't think they're rhinestones. It's hard to
Oh,
tell,
like
but I
it's,
think
rhinestones.
oh, is it just shiny?
Yeah,
they're
and
just the
it just
bumps.
has like these, just I don't know. It's like
They're bumpy ones.
yeah, bumpy, textured. I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
I.
texture is okay. I don't know if people actually ever search for textured, but I do put that in my title sometimes. So maybe that's
Okay.
just a page filler. Less is sometimes more.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But just go through and like search, ones that are really similar to yours for pricing, like what they actually sold at last time, like
Okay.
what the average sold price is and kind of make your own decision from there. But I think if I would have to guess, I'd guess this is not in the ballpark either.
Okay.
But again, it's a sellable item. So I mean that's good. It's probably hard to hear that my stuff's all way overpriced, but it'd be worse if I said it's overpriced and you shouldn't even list it. Like that would be worse.
No, yeah, you have nice stuff. So
Yeah, it's good stuff. You just need to mess with your titles and fix your pricing. So this one, like, so people are going to type vintage. You need that necklace up there, like vintage Coro necklace,
Okay.
and then like beaded double strands, fine. And you get chokers in your item specifics, right? You check that box.
Yes.
And if you're going to do mid-century, put MCM
Okay.
because people are going to search. Usually they search MCM, not mid-century spelled out.
Okay.
So I hope that helps them. And thank you for being such a good sport. But I think the good news is you have a good foundation to work from, and it's not all bad. It's just needs tweaked a little bit, which I think like a lot of eBay has the same problem. So you're not alone. And how do you know until you know, right?
Right.
Yep. Nope. I think overall got a good place to start. And just keep messing with, like, I really like that gray background. That was really good.
Okay.
We all have gone through periods messing with pictures. Like everybody does. Until
Right.
you find what works. Like it's a thing. I still do it, so. All right, anybody else have anything else today? Suzanne?
Yes, I have a pair of earrings that I would like you to, you probably can't see them with this background, so you can see why I blurred out. I want to know, can you tell by looking at it if it's, let me do this. Whoops, went the wrong direction. Can't see my screen and my hand the same
You were
way.
pretty close. Yeah, you were pretty close. Yeah, I see your fingers.
Yeah, I do too. I'm trying to get the other hand. For heaven's sakes. What's going on here?
Move your other hand to where your other hand was.
Well, where is the camera? Way up
Your
here, I
right
guess.
hand. Move your left hand to your right hand.
Okay.
Move it up more.
Oh, you're almost there. There, you're
Okay,
close.
there we
There you
go. Okay. Now, you can see through them. Are they acrylic, plastic? How about I can't remember, or lucite? How do
They
you
all know what I would say, but it's wrong. But I would say that I would call it lucite, but that's not really true. But that's what I would use in my title.
Because they look like lucite to me.
Yeah. And it is see-through, so it is possible because it was just see-through. It didn't necessarily have to be colorless.
Okay. Anything else in terms of
They're pretty nice.
describing them? What style?
Oh, they're cool earrings.
Yeah,
they're
I'm still,
different. I would definitely call it lucite too, because it's so clear, such
yeah,
clear
and
green.
you know what? I'm still on the fence about whether I'm going to sell them because they're very lightweight. And I'm always looking for big clip-ons, so this could be something I keep, but I keep seeing them. I said, well, maybe I should list them. So I wanted to ask you in case I decide on a whim.
I saw someone sell a pair. I don't know if they're signed or not, but I can't remember the name, but it was a French designer. I was on an auction, like on Whatnot, and they went for over $80 and they look exactly like that. She had a pair in like this mustardy yellow color and like a purple.
Wow.
And she said there was some French designer. So
Did you do a Google search on them?
No, I haven't, because like I said, it was just one of those things I must have pulled them out of something to either wear or to sell. I don't know. They were sitting over there and I said, oh, let me see what you all say before I
They
list
look
them.
like good quality.
They do.
Yeah,
That's what,
they do.
you know, like I said, I bought them to wear and you can see well,
Yeah,
not
they're
with
pretty
all this
cool.
shit, but
They're pretty cool. I like them.
so now you see why I blur my background. Otherwise you can't see anything.
I need to blur my whole life background sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah,
I need that
me
to follow me
too.
around a person. All right, anybody else have any questions or anything they wanted to
I'll
chime
just
in
say,
about?
I thought you had some great pieces of jewelry,
thank you.
really interesting. So you must do a really good job at sourcing.
Well, I'm a little addicted to buying jewelry. So I have like bins and bins full. I definitely buy much more than I list. So I'm gonna try to stop buying at least for the first quarter of the year because I know I'll be lying to myself if I say I'm not going to source for the whole 2025. But for the first quarter, I'm going to try to just hone in on listing and then I have like better pieces, but I've been kind of scared to sell them on eBay because I don't know, we deal with like a lot of people who buy stuff and return something else or, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go for it because
Do you wear jewelry?
no,
See,
but I
what?
love,
I'm the only one in here that wears what
I
I
don't either.
I don't
Nobody
wear it,
does.
but I love it.
I do Suzanne, but not that often.
Oh,
But
thank you,
I
Meg.
borrow from my inventory the rare times I like go out in public and stuff and have to go somewhere.
Yeah, good going.
I don't
Carrie, I
really.
wanted to, can you touch a little bit more? Earlier, you mentioned that you um sold more at lower priced items, but higher quantity. I guess you made more of a profit.
Well, I was
So,
making more net profit per week. But here, let me caveat that with,
okay,
in that case, I do think having as many followers as I do does help because I think I have a lot of multi-quantity buyers
okay,
to follow my store. And so when I had that stuff, I think they were making I was selling lots and lots of big multi-quantity orders. So that helps. But I wouldn't like go out of the gate and try that model.
okay,
I think it's not a model to aspire to. It works. And if you do it and you make it work, then good power to you. But it's a grind and you have to have the right people finding your store to have it work.
okay.
Yeah, real gold on eBay is a no-go for me too, Meg. I've never had a switcheroo in general, but I wouldn't sell the real gold either. It scares me.
And do you guys do a lot of junk lots on eBay or?
Meg does too. I do
Yeah,
too.
decent amount. Yeah, they're like my favorite. If I could find them for like so cheap that I could just do junk lots, that'd be the easiest model on earth, but that's hard to find that. But I am gonna go pick up today. I'm 20 minutes away. I'm gonna get 30 pounds of jewelry for $10. I'm not even gonna look through it. I'm just gonna kind of swoop, and if I happen to see something good, I'll pull it out. I'm gonna swoop into 3-pound lots, and then the just 10 at $30. Sell for maybe $20. That's 10 into $200.
I've
So
done that too.
Week, probably in a week. They
a
sell quick.
3 pound lot at $30?
Yeah, and then taking off for like 20 probably. Or
Okay.
sometimes I buy them for a lot. If I can find like one really snazzy looking like broken rhinestone piece that I put across the top of it, then maybe I'll sell it for higher. But yeah,
Mhm.
even at $20, that's $10 into $200 in a week.
Right.
I do that too. I'll take a chance on a big junk lot like that too if I can just turn around and resell it. It's an easy turnaround.
And some people have better luck with the bigger lots, but I think those, like for me, they sit, or I end up getting like way lower offers where it's like price per pound. So like 2 to 3 pounds works best for me personally, but.
I would agree with Meg that price per pound that does work better. But like for me, and I have so much quantity from big buys that I'm okay with like, here's a great deal. Come get the 20-pound box. Like just because I need it to move faster. But profit wise makes better off than I am for sure. I just want it out of my house. So I want it to go away.
And I just sold a pound of earrings for 20 bucks too. They were all just kind of cheap earrings. I put some singles, some doubles, but most were actually just doubles, and they just were things that weren't selling, and I put them in a thing and they sold pretty quick for 20 bucks. That works.
So Audrey, I would say that in my opinion, like when I think you can get 10 to 20 bucks a pound easy out of anything that's got some decent, if it's all beads, you're not going to get that usually, but if you have some decent stuff mixed in there, I think 10 bucks a pound is pretty reasonable. Don't you think, Meg?
Yeah, I do $20 for a pound if it's all rhinestones. Like if I just happen to have a good amount of those, like I don't like purposely make different piles of for lots or whatever. But if I do, then I'll do a rhinestone lot and set it up look semi nice-ish looking, and 25 bucks for that for a pound. If not, I do like $10 a pound to start.
Yep, that's pretty good. I don't do that on my 20-pound boxes because usually people aren't going to go for 200 bucks on that. But like I said, I'm not priced into, lots of times I just need it out of my hair, but I think that's a really good starting point. And rhinestones, if you have really unique ones, I'll lay them out. I don't do it very often, but I got like 80 bucks like per 8x10 spot for like several lots, but they had Juliana stones in them is why. I could tell they were from Juliana's, so people wanted them for the replacement stones and it was worth it to them. But usually, and I quit, just like Meg said, I quit. I used to keep like my rhinestone junk separate from my rest of my junk because I could get more out of the rhinestone lots, but I quit doing that. Like we start making these piles and these boxes and these lots, and it's just like a never ending thing. And it was like mentally draining for me. I don't need that many lots in my life. I don't need that many piles in my life. I need less piles and less lots. So
Thanks.
nope, I gotta take this. Lynn, you can stop the recording whenever you want here.